Hey guys! This is the top 10 features to use for the Sebring 12 hours race or with any other endurance race. In this video, some features are team related, other features are exclusive and wouldn't be possible without Racelab. Others can make you a faster and safer driver, letting you take less risks during the race. So let's see what are the top 10 features in my opinion, starting from the most important to the least important. Number 1 for me is the Overtake alert. Let's have a look at this overlay. This overlay provides a clear warning when faster car classes are approaching from behind, helping you stay aware of potential overtaking situations. But what does this overlay shows us? In this preview mode, this overlay shows us that 4 drivers are behind us within a very close distance within 3.3 seconds. It also shows us how far away these drivers behind each other, which could be a crucial information, especially when you see 2, let's say LMP drivers being very close to each other. You know they are fighting for position and you might want to take extra caution letting them by. This overlay has plenty of options to configure it to your needs. For instance, if you want something minimal, you might change a couple of settings, you might turn off a couple of columns here. Let's say if I would want to make this as minimal as possible, I would probably use it in this configuration, taking a very small space from your screen, but being very helpful during your race. Let me show you how this overlay looks and feels when it is used in a live session.
I've started to get this feeling that I'm totally fucked.
Well, jokes aside, let's see how it really looks like. The second best feature for me is the fuel sharing feature. If you're racing as part of a team, it's vital for the whole team to be able to see the car's fuel information while somebody is driving. Anyone with the same fuel sharing token will be able to see each other's fuel usage while spectating them in-game, allowing your team the freedom to implement much more precise strategies. You can find the fuel sharing feature in the fuel calculator overlay. It's part of this overlay. You can either create a fuel sharing group or join to an existing one. If you create a fuel sharing group, you will get a token that you can copy and give it to your teams. What happens when you get a token is simply you can join to them with the join button and you will see who is part of the team in this fuel sharing group. You don't need to set up anything else. This will just work out of the box. The third most important feature is the driver flags. This feature is available both in the standings and in the relative overlays. Now this driver flag option, you can find it over here with the driver flags group. And when I turn it on, you can see we have an additional column at the very end of this overlay. With this option, you can gain some good additional intel about your opponents. Normally, you don't know if your opponent has a flag or anything. But with this option, you are able to receive the information when any driver have a slowdown or a black flag or even a meatball flag. And I believe I don't have to tell you why this is a crucial information during the race. On number 4 position is the input telemetry and one of its features. In the input telemetry, you can select a comparison lap that will allow you to compare your pedal inputs to something else or someone else's pedal inputs. If you're racing in a team, I strongly suggest you to add each other as a friend in Racelab. This feature gets very interesting in a team race, because as soon as someone sets the best lap time in the race within your team, the next driver will see this in the input telemetry. This will give the driver an immediate feedback and see where they can improve. If I go here to the telemetry comparison, you can actually learn more about the features if you click on this button, and it will show you how it actually looks. It's basically your input to your friend input. And you can easily see on this picture, for instance, that your friend throttle pickup was much earlier than yours, hence he gained more time on you. Now, to turn on this feature for your team, make sure you set this to the best of friends, and also make sure to turn on throttle and brake. This is very useful. It will not require you to have some post-analysis after the session. This is on-the-spot learning from your own teammate. The fifth most important and most useful feature is slightly connected to the input telemetry comparison, because the exact same mode is available in the delta bar overlay. If you navigate to the mode section and you set the comparison mode to best of friends, this will let you see the delta of the best lap time of your friend. The sixth most important feature for me is the flag frame on the relative overlay. This is a very simple feature. If you turn it on, you will see that you get flag information around your relative overlay. For me, this is the best option instead of using a dedicated overlay, because usually the relative overlay is something you constantly checking on during the race. So if something is popping up around this overlay, you will most likely notice it. Let me show you a quick snippet about this overlay in a real session so you understand how useful it is. Number 7 is the blind spot overlay. It activates when a car is right next to you. As soon as the rear bumper is alongside of your opponent's front bumper, this overlay will activate and show that you need to be careful because someone is either attempting an overtake or just simply got next to you. This is particularly useful in close racing situations, preventing unintended contacts. What is even better is by default, you don't need to see this overlay if no one is around you. If you set the inactive opacity to 0%, this overlay will be invisible and only activate when someone is next to you, making it even more prominent. Have a try, you won't regret it. Number 8 is the session split widget or data block. This is just a very handy information to have that I'm very fond of. This widget tells you how many session splits there are in your race and in which session split you actually joined. So in this example, there are 8 session splits and you are in the second split. As you know, in iRacing, there are many drivers joining to one single race session, and if you have too many drivers, it gets split into multiple race sessions, and this is basically what it's showing to you. Easiest way to use this is to go to the data block and select the session split as the data source. You have also the option to put it in any of the overlays that supports widgets. Relative overlay is one of the example. If you go to the edit section for the widgets, I can change this first widget, session split. If I select session split, you will see that I have this information right on my relative overlay now. Easy as it is. And the 9th most important feature is the leaderboard overlay. This overlay allows you to see where your lap times stand on a global scale. It compares your lap times against all recorded times in iRacing. This is not limited to Racelab users. The dataset includes lap times from all iRacing drivers through all sessions. What I use this overlay for in endurance races is for practice sessions. There are many practice sessions before the actual race for an endurance race. Many people do many different lap times, but overall, this will give you a very good overview about what lap times you can expect from the race and where you stand amongst all those lap times. What you can do is you can filter the results for your iRating bucket. So basically to your competitive level. As you can see, I already turned this on. If I turn this off, this would give me a global leaderboard. But as you know, there are too many aliens out there, so I highly suggest to turn this on. You can also specify whatever bucket you would like to see, but I suggest you to use your own competitive level so it will give you a better picture of where you stand amongst the drivers who are on the same level. Number 10 on my list are layouts. Now this should be a little bit higher, but eventually it made it to the top 10. Layouts are a fantastic way to organize your overlays. This is how you can imagine what a layout is. A layout is essentially a container that you can place as many overlays as you want with whatever configurations you wish. This means you can create multiple layouts with multiple different configurations. Why would you want to have multiple layouts? Well, you might want to have a layout for a specific car series or a specific car category, but another one for everything else. What I have is I have a default layout. Let me just show you how it looks like. These are all the overlays I placed within my layout, and they will show automatically. When I open the layout, all these overlays that I place into will show up for me. But when I join to a Formula car, as you can see, this badge says Formula car. When I join to a Formula session, I will have a completely different set of overlays around me. So these are the so-called activation rules. You can set an activation rule for a layout, and it can be a category, it can be a series, it can be a car. You can create as many as you want. I think this is one of the best features we have because it gives you a lot of flexibility of what you want to see in different cars, series, or categories. On top of that, we introduced a community layout section, essentially people sharing their own layouts. So you can just simply click on one, have a close look at how this looks, and just download it. And once you downloaded it, you can use it immediately. So have a look at the layout section. It's a great feature. It will save you a ton of time and give you a lot of flexibility. Wish you all good luck and happy gaming.
Dude, I'm telling you, gaming is my therapy. You